America, we got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Hey, this Monday, hope you all had a great weekend. To me, everything comes down to this. What kind of a people do we want to be? What kind of a country do we want to be? I think damn near every policy argument, every policy fight we have comes down to that. What kind of a country do we want to be? What kind of a people do we want to be? Now, I want to be the country, I want to be the people that, unlike anywhere else in the world, you can come to America and you can speak your mind. You have more rights and freedoms in America than anywhere else on the planet. That's the kind of country I always want us to be. Like, for instance, if you are here on a student visa, attending one of our universities, man, I want to be the kind of country where you have every right to peacefully protest. Even though you're not a United States citizen, you're here on a student visa, attending one of our colleges and universities. I want to be the kind of people, the kind of country that says you have every right to exercise free speech. You've got the same rights that an American student has. You can peacefully protest because America is the kind of place that you can do that, because we are the most free, the freest place, the freest country on the planet. And we extend that freedom not just to our own citizens, but people who come here temporarily. People who come here for work reasons temporarily. People who come here as students temporarily. You come to our land, you come to our country, hell yeah, you've got a right to peacefully protest. What kind of an America do you want to be? Or do you want to be the kind of America where if you are here on a student visa and you're out there protesting for the Palestinians, you're out there protesting, supporting Hamas, get your butt out of America? What kind of a country do you want to be? Donald Trump last night, we know what kind of America Trump wants us to be. Trump has been throwing down executive order after executive order, going after immigrants and migrants, going after people here on student visas, trying to suppress and limit their speech. Donald Trump's America is, if you're not an American citizen, we're going to arrest and or deport you if you protest, even protest peacefully. Trump last night arrested this Palestinian ringleader, this Palestinian protester. ICE arrested him, detained him, Department of Homeland Security. Don't know where he is right now. He's a Palestinian. He's been here on a student visa. He's now here on a green card. He's married to an American citizen. But because he has been one of the most outspoken protesters on our college campuses, namely Columbia in New York, because he's been one of the ringleaders, one of the biggest and most outspoken protesters for the Palestinian cause at Columbia University. Trump nabbed him last night, detained him. Thanks, Keith. Let me, before I get into this, let me be really crystal clear about something. I'm off the charts pro-Israel. I'm more pro-Israel, I say with a wink, than anybody listening to me right now. I was the most pro-Israel member of Congress. I do not believe in the two-state solution. I do not believe there will ever be peace in the Middle East until the Islamists, right, acknowledge that Israel has a right to exist. I would, as an American citizen, defend the state of Israel every bit as passionately as I will defend the United States of America. I am off the charts pro-Israel. But this is wrong. This is not the kind of America I want to live in. This is wrong to arrest or deport people here on student visas who protest in support of the Palestinian cause, a cause I don't support, or protest in support of Hamas, a terrorist organization that I don't support. But to arrest or deport people here on student visas who exercise that free speech, the right in America to protest, to me is just wrong on so many levels. Now, this young man's particular case, and he's one, look, I'll acknowledge he's one of the bad apples. I mean, he's been out there ever since October 7th, organizing most of the protests at Columbia University. He's a graduate student. He's no longer on a student visa. He's a green card holder, which means he's a lawful permanent resident. He's a green card holder, which is one step below being an American citizen. He's married to an American citizen. And the Department of Homeland Security raided his residence yesterday and has detained him, enforcing, they said, Donald Trump's executive orders. Donald Trump's executive orders. Trump came out with one executive order that has been taken to court, which I hope is clearly unconstitutional, which says, remember what Trump said, you can't engage in illegal protests. I don't know what an illegal protest is, but Donald Trump throwing down a couple big executive orders in this area to expel American citizens in schools, to expel American students who protest in support of Hamas or Gazans, to expel them from American universities, to defund American universities that don't expel them, and then Trump's executive orders to arrest / deport people here on a student visa who protest in support of the Palestinian cause, who protest in support of Hamas. I mean, Donald Trump signed one executive order prohibiting anti-Semitism. How do you do that? What is that? How do you do that in a free society? Donald Trump, the president of the United States, who I acknowledge doesn't know the first fucking thing about the Constitution of free speech, Trump signed an executive order prohibiting anti-Semitism. How do you do that in America? You have a right in America to be an anti-Semite. You have a right in America to be a bigot. You have a right in America to be a racist. The government cannot prohibit you from being a racist or a bigot or an anti-Semite. And again, I say all of this as someone who would defend Israel right now, probably more than I'd defend my own country. You have the right in America to be anti-Semitic. The government can't stop you from being anti-Semitic. And I want to remind everybody right now who's firing me off messages saying that this guy yesterday, this guy here who clearly ICE thought was here on a student visa, he's here on a green card. So that's much more problematic. To revoke someone's green card, well, that takes an immigration judge to do that. But all of you right now screaming, deport him, deport this Palestinian who's been leading the ugly protest at Columbia University, deport him, deport him, deport him. You're screaming. You do understand, don't you, that an American citizen is free to peacefully protest in support of Hamas. Like, you know that, right? Right? That right? You believe in that, right? That's the First Amendment. We've got that freedom in America. You can march in support of the KKK. You can march and support peacefully in support of any terrorist organization. So an American citizen who's a student at Columbia University has a right to protest on campus in support of Hamas. What Trump is doing is not extending that same freedom to an international student who's here on a student visa. And just, I want to make sure you're informed, just so you're clear. Make that distinction. You can't tell me, Joe, look, these American students, these students who are American on these campuses, they shouldn't be protesting in support of Hamas or in support of the Palestinians or whatever. Excuse me, they have the right to do that. You have the right in this country to peacefully protest in support of anybody as an American. And what I'm saying is we should live in a country where even people here on student visas should have that same right, that same freedom. We should be a country big enough. We should show the world that we're a country big enough that even if you're not an American citizen, you're here on a student visa. Well, damn it, in America, we're big enough to extend to you the same freedoms, the same rights. We're big enough to take that because that's what we do in America. You want to wave the Hamas flag as an American, you've got a right to do it. And I've got a right to stand across the street and protest against you. Again, per the Immigration and Nationalization Act, international students who are here on student visas, they can lose those visas if they're convicted of a crime. They can't have those student visas revoked for things they say or for their beliefs. So last night, the Trump administration detains this Palestinian organizer, not an American citizen. He's here on a green card, but they detain him, they arrest him. They sure as hell are going to try to deport him because he supports the Palestinian cause and he opposes Israel. He hasn't committed a crime. So I have no doubt that his lawyer, and there'll be people behind him, are going to defend him as high as they can to make sure that this guy doesn't get deported. You want to deport people? I mean, think about this. You want to deport, and that's a good way to put it, Jesse. Like, you want to just violate the Constitution because Trump says to do it? Is that what you want? You want to defy the Constitution? And again, there's an act of Congress. There's a law on the books right now that says your student visa cannot be revoked based on your beliefs and what you say. This guy clearly, the guy Trump nabbed yesterday, clearly does not like Israel, doesn't believe Israel has a right to exist. I want to live in a country where he has the right to express those beliefs. I hope, again, everybody listening right now, I hope all my pro-Israel brothers and sisters, and let's make a real distinction here. When it comes to free speech, I'm about as absolutist as you can be. I acknowledge that. We all should be. You do not have a right to harass students on campus, Jewish students. You do not have a right to bully Jewish students on campus. You do not have a right to vandalize property, to commit crimes. Not talking about that. I'm talking about protesting. You want to get mad at Columbia University for being way the fuck too lenient with these protesters? Hell yeah, I'll jump right in there with you. Columbia University has messed up. They've allowed these protesters to do too much. You protest against Israel on a college campus and you occupy a building? Well, fuck, arrest them. That's a crime. As we've seen so much of these last couple of years, you're protesting on a college campus and you prevent Jewish students, you get in the way and prevent Jewish students from attending class. I don't care whether you're an American or not. You don't have a right to do that. That's not peacefully protesting. Let's all make this distinction. You do not have a right to commit crimes here in America, whether you're an American citizen or whether you're here on a student visa. You do not have a right in America on a college campus to harass Jewish students or Black students or gay students, whether you're an American or here on a student visa. You don't have a right to physically accost Jewish students or gay students or Black students. It's not what we're talking about. If and when that stuff happened, well, those protesters should have been arrested. The American citizens and the ones here on student visas. And if this Palestinian guy that was detained yesterday, if he was caught committing crimes, he's here on a green card, a bit more complicated, but you're here on a green card or you're here on a student visa and you commit crimes, boom, you're gone. That's not what I'm talking about. He has not been arrested for committing a crime, charged with committing a crime. He's been detained because of his beliefs. And my pro-Israel brothers and sisters, my Jewish brothers and sisters, way too many of you, because you're pro-Israel like me, you're rushing to high five all of this unconstitutional shit Trump's doing to protect Jewish students. Shame on you. Shame on you. I'm every bit as pro-Israel as you are, my Jewish brothers and sisters, but we don't suppress free speech in this country. And you shouldn't applaud the suppression of free speech. And Donald Trump right now is using immigration enforcement to suppress free speech. That's what this is all about. This young guy, this guy has not been convicted of, charged, or convicted of a crime. He's been detained by Homeland Security because he's pro-Gaza. He's anti-Israel. And Trump wants to look really, really tough, right? That he's standing up for Israel. He wants to outlaw anti-Semitism. By the way, there shouldn't be any Jew in America applauding the American government trying to outlaw anti-Semitism. You cannot outlaw anti-Semitism, not in a free country. And you shouldn't applaud any attempts to try to. We don't suppress speech in this country. How do we defeat speech we don't like in this country? We defeat speech we don't like in this country with other speech. I'll defend Mahmoud Khalil here on a green card. I'll defend his right to say whatever the hell he wants to say about Israel. I'll defend his right to fly a Hamas flag in a peaceful protest, just like I would defend any American citizen's right to peacefully protest in support of Hamas. And I will condemn that flag he flies. I will condemn the cause he supports. But I'll defend his right to support that cause. There's a long history of this in America, right? Trying to shut up speech, trying to send people back who speak out on causes that Americans don't support. There's a long history of this in America. And right now, since October 7th, right, there's been a lot of ugliness, right? And by the way, a lot of crimes committed in these protests on college campuses. A lot of people have been arrested for committing crimes. But in this rush to protect Jewish students, we're trampling on rights. We're trampling on freedoms. We're trampling on speech. Again, I go to where I began. And maybe this is the question. What kind of a country do you want to live in? Do you want to live in a country where we outlaw speech that's against Israel? Start there. Should we make it illegal for people to peacefully protest against Israel? Do you want to live in that kind of country? Do you want to live in a country where you can protest peacefully against Israel, but you cannot say the state of Israel should not exist? Do you want to live in a country where if you peacefully say the state of Israel should not exist, Israel does not have a right to exist? Do you want to live in a country that outlaws that speech? I don't. I want to live in a country where you're free to say Israel has no right to exist, and you're free to say, I don't believe in the two-state solution. Gaza, Israel should have Gaza. The Palestinian people shouldn't exist. I want to live in a country where you're free to say both. What kind, really, this is what it comes down to. You can't tell me, Jojo, I'm pro-Israel, I'm pro-Israel, and I want to shut up all speech that's against Israel. We're better than this. There are plenty of countries around the world that don't have our free speech. There are plenty of countries around the world where you get jailed for expressing your views, for expressing your beliefs. There are plenty of countries in the world, our European allies, where hate speech is a crime. There are European countries where if you say certain things about Muslims or Jews or anybody, you'll get arrested. I don't want to live in that kind of a country. Donald Trump is trying to suppress speech, and he's using immigration enforcement to do it. And for all of you applauding that, for all of you applauding this arrest yesterday, this detention yesterday of this Palestinian protester, I would just ask you finally, where does it end? Where does it end? Would you support Trump arresting people here on student visas who speak out peacefully against enforcing the border, against Trump's immigration policy? Where does it end? Does Trump have the right? Would you give Trump the right to deport people here on student visas who protest in support of transgender rights? Where does it end? Trump right now is detaining people here on student visas who have certain views on Jews in Israel. And if you're applauding that, then where does it end? Do people in this country on student visas have a right to peacefully protest against Trump's tariffs? Americans do, right? American citizens do, right? American citizens can peacefully protest out on the street this afternoon against Trump's tariffs. You all acknowledge that, right? If you're here on a student visa and you go out into the street and peacefully protest against Trump's tariffs, should that student here on a student visa be deported? Is that the kind of country you want to live in? Scott Andrew Warner, put that up, Keith. Put that up, blocking Jewish students. Scott Andrew Warner. I need you to listen to me, Scott Andrew Warner. I know you're smart enough to understand what I'm about to say. Keith, keep it up. Blocking Jewish students from going to college, from going to class, is not free speech. Agreed. I agree. If you block a Jewish student from attending class, that is not free speech. That is bullying. That is harassment. That is threatening. That is a crime. Scott? Yes, that's not free speech. Keep that up, Keith. But Scott Andrew Warner, if you are protesting on a space of grass on a college campus, 15 or 20 of you, and you're protesting in support of the Palestinians, and you believe the state of Israel is evil, and you're chanting that, you're just expressing your beliefs. Scott, you have a right to do that, right? You're not getting in anybody's way. You're not blocking anybody from going to class. You're not harassing any Jewish student. You're just with 15 or 20 others somewhere on campus, just peacefully protesting and chanting. You can take it down, Keith. Thanks. Scott Andrew Warner, I hope you understand the difference. Come on, guys. Don't be, come on now, be better. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. A student at any American university has a right to protest all by themselves against the state of Israel. A student on a college campus does not have the right to stand in the doorway of a classroom and prevent Jewish students from entering that classroom. Gosh, I hope everybody listening to me right now understands the difference. And I hope everybody listening to me right now understands that Donald Trump is detaining people here on student visas, not ones who are committing crimes or blocking students from attending class. Donald Trump is detaining international students here on a student visa who are simply peacefully protesting, expressing their beliefs. And all I'm saying is, to do that is un-American. To do that is weak. To do that is small. To do that is afraid, like we're afraid. America's not big and strong enough. Oh my God, if we have students here on student visas who aren't American citizens and they're out there protesting for Gaza and protesting against America and Israel, oh, America is so small and so weak. We can't handle that kind of free expression. So we need to deport those students. Shame on that. And shame on us. And let's hope, let's be bigger than that. And let's hope that this Mahmoud Khalil, let's hope that he appeals his case and he wins, because he's got a right in America. Unless he's convicted of a crime, his student visa can't be revoked. This is, by the way, another one of Trump's executive orders that hopefully will be ruled unconstitutional. But per the law, his student visa cannot be revoked for simply expressing his beliefs or his statements. Let's hope that the courts uphold that America. Hey, one more quickie. You remember Trump about 1,000 times during the campaign. Remember Trump during the campaign? Hey, I'm going to get elected on day one. The price of everything's coming down. There it is. Immediately, Donald Trump, immediately when I'm elected on day one, in the first hour on day one, the price of eggs, the price of cars, the price of lumber, the price of everything will come down immediately. It's going to be the biggest economic boom in the world. Trump said that shit repeatedly. Day one, damn near every rally in the campaign. Day one, the price of eggs will come down. The price of everything will come down. It didn't happen. And a few weeks ago, Trump said, don't worry. We know what we're doing. Ain't going to be a recession. We're fine. We're going to be fine. And then in the last week, Trump and his people have been saying, okay, well, there might be some short-term pain and prices may go up for the short term, but long term, baby, we're back. We're going to be fine. You know what? In another few weeks or a few months, when because of Trump and his policies and his tariffs, we're in a recession, you know what Trump's going to say. Biden's recession. Biden's recession. He'll say that a year from now, if and when we're in a recession. Look, make this point. I don't want to beat up on Trump because Trump is who Trump is. He's a pathological liar. Look, if you believed Donald Trump when he said repeatedly during the campaign, elect me and the price of everything will come down on day one, if you believed him when he said bullshit like that, that's on you. That's on you. You're responsible for that. I don't blame Trump. I never, ever, ever blame Donald Trump for lying to you. I understand why Trump lies to you, because you let him get away with it. And so it's been fascinating to watch the last 6-7 weeks, right? Trump's yo-yo tariffs. Tariffs are on, tariffs are off. Tariffs are on, tariffs are off. And the economy right now is teetering. And a lot of smart people think we'll be in a recession in another few months. And the price of eggs, the price of everything hasn't come down. In fact, the price of everything has gone up. Inflation's beginning to tick up again. The jobs numbers that came out last week were not good at all. So clearly, in 7 weeks, not only has Donald Trump not been the Messiah and brought the price of eggs and everything down on day one, he's making everything worse. The utter tariff on again, off again, fucking clown show is making everything worse. Not a surprise, but your fault for believing him. Politicians lie all the time. We ain't never had a politician who lied like Trump. Just make me a promise, Trump supporters. MAGA, he is a lifelong psychopath. Just MAGA, make me a promise. MAGA. If and when we're in a depression and a recession, let's hope it's not a depression. Let's say because of what Trump's doing, we're in a recession in about 5 or 6 months. Do me a favor, when Trump then comes out and says it's Joe Biden's recession, MAGA, I want you to dig deep. I want you to dig deep, and don't let Trump get away with that lie. Don't let him blame Biden in 6 months or in a year and 6 months for whatever Trump does to the economy. He'll blame Biden. He'll blame Hillary. He'll blame the deep state. He'll blame Zelensky. He'll lie to you. Don't let him get away with that lie. Don't let him. Let's make it a good week. Big week this week. I've got a couple interesting conversations coming up this week. And Congress has a job to do this week. They got to figure out how to keep the government open. So a lot of fascinating stuff to watch this week. Thank you for listening. As always, my email address is thesocialcontractwithjoewalsh@gmail.com. All one word, thesocialcontractwithjoewalsh@gmail.com. Thanks, guys. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract